Hey everybody, my name is Jess. My trail name is Sassafras. I'm the marketing and community manager for the trek, and last year I thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine and the Long Trail, and during my hikes I recorded and published over 160 videos on YouTube. My goal today is to share with you guys everything that I wished I would have known before I began my YouTubing journey. Now I have some disclaimers. This is not a video about how to grow a huge following on hiking YouTube. Simply knowing how to record and upload a video on YouTube does not guarantee that you're going to establish a big following, make any money, any of that. Your growth as a YouTuber, if that's your goal, is going to come down to how hard you're working on your videos, how often you're posting, the quality of your videos, if there's an audience out there for your content, whether the audience connects with you, your personality, titling, thumbnailing, all of that stuff. So instead, think of this video as an answer to some of the logistical questions that you might have about launching a YouTube channel while hiking the Appalachian Trail. All right, so the first step, before you do anything, before you pick out a YouTube channel handle, before you start setting up Instagram accounts, any of that, before you do anything, I want you to ask yourself some questions. How often do you want to make videos? Who are these videos for? How long do you want them to be? How much work and time do you want to put into them? How visually interesting do you want them to be? And what do you want to get out of this? All of these questions will help you to inform the style of your videos. Now, personally, I decided to vlog my hike for a few different reasons. One, I knew that my family was watching, and I had never done anything like this before, and I wanted them to be able to follow along on my journey and know that I was safe. Two, I had experience working for a YouTuber, and I wanted the opportunity to put everything that I had learned into practice and see if I could do it for myself. Three, I have a terrible memory, and I wanted to be able to look back on all the memories that I made on my hike. Four, I actually watched Taylor the New Hampshire hiker hike on the AT, and that gave me the confidence that I needed in order to get out on trail and do it for myself. So I really loved the idea of being a resource for another hiker because another person was a resource for me. I was not interested in growing a massive following. I really just wanted to create a video journal of my hike. So I wasn't really interested in putting in a ton of work into recording. I didn't want it to look super polished. It was pretty much just for me as a future video journal. So that being said, I highlighted all of the beautiful places that I was hiking, the people that I was meeting, the hardships that I was enduring, and the lessons that I was learning. And because I did this, I was able to connect with folks from all over the world simply because I shared my thru hike on YouTube. I was also lucky enough to build a small following. I had about 3,000 followers by the time I got off trail, which meant I was able to earn a little bit of money to help fund my hike. What you need to get started. Okay, so let's talk about gear. So first up, you're going to need a phone, and then you're also going to need something to charge your phone. So don't forget the nugget and the cable to charge your phone. You're also going to need a battery bank. I eventually ended up carrying 2 of the Nitecore 10,000s. That was because I was afraid if I forgot to charge one or one didn't charge correctly, I had a backup bank. I paid for it on weight savings, but that was my choice. And then finally, a pair of headphones so that if you're editing in your tent or in your bunk at a hostel, you can edit on your phone without playing the sound out loud and bothering anybody. All right, now here are some optional things that you can bring with you. First up, you can bring some sort of tripod. These are nice if you want to get shots of you walking past the camera, or if you want to set it up and watch yourself climbing up the ridge without just like setting your phone against a rock or against a tree. I initially started carrying one of these, but eventually I decided that the weight just wasn't worth it. I wasn't going to the effort of getting these fun walking shots. I was just doing a lot of POV videos or just videoing myself talking to the camera. So I just ultimately decided not to carry a tripod. Second optional is some sort of microphone. I didn't end up needing it. It was pretty quiet in the forest, and really the only time that you weren't able to hear me clearly is if I was in the wind or near a waterfall. There was a lot of background noise. That was really the only time you couldn't hear me talking to the camera. But if you do decide to bring along some sort of phone compatible microphone that can just like clip onto your shirt, just like this one, or you can hold it and talk to the camera, whatever, you'll probably end up with a lot cleaner sound than I did in a lot of my videos. Third, if you decide that your phone camera is just not good enough, it's not high quality enough for the nature shots you want to get, or it doesn't have tracking capabilities, if you're really like a video file and you want really high quality video, you may decide to carry some sort of camera like a GoPro or an Osmo. That's totally on you. Some people really love that. They love the quality of the video. I personally didn't care so much. And finally, and this is an important one, I don't hear a lot of people talk about, some form of external hard drive. Video takes up a lot of space. If you're recording for, 10, 20 minutes a day, sometimes more, that's going to take up a ton of room on your phone. So if you don't go to the effort of backing that up to the cloud or offloading it off your phone onto some sort of external hard drive or thumb drive, there are ones that they make that plug right into your phone. If you aren't doing that, you're going to end up just ruining the storage on your phone, and you're going to have to continuously delete and delete and delete, which is a huge pain in the butt. So if you're not planning on leaving anything on the cloud, and you decide that you want to hang on to all of your B-roll and all of the videos, you're going to want to bring an external hard drive with you. Also, just a side note, you'll notice that as you upload videos to YouTube or you're using them on your editing software, which we'll get to in a second, that you're going to start seeing your storage get taken up. It's going to bloat up your phone. Keep an eye on that so that you can continuously delete those apps and then free up storage. And the apps that you're going to need, the obvious one is the YouTube app. There's also the YouTube Studio app. I liked to have both on my phone because sometimes one was being wonky and the other one was fine. So I recommend getting both. Additionally, the YouTube Studio app has some capabilities that the original YouTube app does not have. So I recommend downloading both and poking around, getting used to using them. Additionally, editing software. I used CapCut Pro. There's a great editing software, really user intuitive. There are tons of other options out there like iMovie or whatever, but make sure that before you get on trail, you know exactly how you're going to edit your videos. Recording a YouTube video. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to encourage you to practice. I think it's a really good idea to record some sort of video where you're talking about your gear, or maybe you're just doing a shakedown hike, or maybe you're just introducing yourself. It might feel awkward or cringy at first. I definitely felt really weird when I started talking to the camera. I didn't do this at all before, like any sort of vlogging before getting on trail, and I just felt really uncomfortable. So it took some practice to feel comfortable, to feel like myself, to feel like I was adequately conveying exactly how I was feeling, and not, acting or pretending or feeling strange. Another thing to look out for is that you may feel uncomfortable recording in front of others. That is totally normal. For me, I would feel embarrassed or ashamed or awkward anytime that I was in a group setting and I felt like I had to take my camera out and to record the moment. You just kind of have to work past that. There's like a certain, embarrassment or shame that comes with pulling your camera out and just recording and feeling like that person on trail. But like, if you want to remember the hike and you want to remember the fun moments that feel, worth recording to you, you're just going to have to get used to doing that. Push past the shame. For me, I eventually got there. Also get used to talking about the trail, about how you're feeling, about your body, the aches and pains. Get used to talking about what you're eating, the hostels you're staying in, the people that you're meeting. Just get used to talking about it all. Again, it's going to take some practice, but whatever you think is interesting, your audience is probably going to think is interesting. So I really encourage you to just take time to reflect on your surroundings and get used to talking about them. It's also really helpful to just get used to editing, getting that practice, because the reality is you're going to be really tired at the end of the day, and teaching yourself how to edit and upload a video when you're in your tent at the end of a 20-mile day and it's 20 degrees outside or whatever, if it's really cold out, you're not going to want to do that. I really recommend that you just bite the bullet and teach yourself how to do it before you leave for trail. Get lots of B-roll. For me, I really liked recording all of the beautiful views and the summits. Like, that's the obvious stuff, but I also got a lot of joy out of recording plants and animals, the hostels I was staying in, the food I was eating, an interesting rock, anything that caught my attention, I went out of my way to record. And the helpful thing about that is that it helps to break up your videos, it makes them more visually interesting, and in the future when you're looking back, in Virginia, you might notice that you're recording a bunch of rhododendrons, but then in a future video in Pennsylvania, you're noticing you're recording a lot of mountain laurels. And then you get up to Maine and Vermont, and there's a lot of mud. So it's going to be cool for you to look back and think about all of the unique terrain that you hike through. You're going to be glad that you recorded video of it. Additionally, your audience who is not out there hiking that with you, who it might not look interesting to you in the moment because you've been hiking on the same green tunnel for the last 300 miles, but a viewer might look and say, whoa, like that mushroom is a chicken of the woods mushroom. Like, how cool that you passed that. So your audience might think it's interesting even if you don't. And the fourth thing is that you're going to want to add music to your videos if you want to. For me, I liked adding music to my videos because I felt like it helped to create a certain style and a certain tone. If you are going to use music in a video, the one thing you're going to want to be cognizant of is not using music with you want to use royalty-free music, essentially. If you use music that is copyrighted, you're probably going to get some sort of copyright infringement from YouTube, which can affect your monetization and the reach of your video ultimately. And they'll ask you to mute that music or remove it from the video entirely. And that's not what you want to do when a video is already live and you've already put so much effort into it, and maybe you're weeks ahead in your editing. The last thing you want to do is go back and fix a video. So just save yourself the headache. Only use royalty-free music if that's something that you want to do. Determine a posting schedule. First and foremost, and this is my biggest tip, please do not ignore this. If you're going to be recording videos of your hike, please do not post your first video until you're at least 2 or 3 weeks out from your start date. There's a lot of reasons for this. The first one is safety. I was a solo woman hiking. I started the trail alone. Eventually, I linked up with people. We were all hiking together fairly frequently. But the reality is, if you're posting your videos in real time, people know where you are. And especially if you're a solo woman hiking, although, it's not limited to that. It can happen to anybody, but people can find you. If you're heading one direction and somebody knows where you are, they can just post up at a trailhead and wait there for you. And that's scary. So do what you can. Don't post in real time. It doesn't happen super often, but it can happen. We had an issue, me and my family had an issue where somebody was watching our videos, was able to figure out where we were. And luckily they were really cool. They were just bringing us trail magic, but they very easily could have been a creep. So just do what you can. Don't put yourself in an unsafe situation. Wait at least a couple of weeks before posting your video to keep yourself safe. And secondly, I was able to give myself enough wiggle room that if I got to a town and they didn't have the best Wi-Fi, or maybe I didn't have any videos edited because I was being bad and not editing my videos, or I was too tired to do that, or I just didn't feel like doing it, it didn't really matter because I had a ton of wiggle room in between when videos were supposed to go live. Because I always knew that I had another few weeks of videos that were ready to go. So even if I took a week off, it didn't matter because I could just get to a hostel with really good Wi-Fi or a hotel and then just spend the entire day cranking out videos, making thumbnails, titling, uploading them, and then I was good to go. So give yourself some wiggle room. The last thing you want to do is get to town and have to force yourself to edit videos because you don't have a video ready to go for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and you have to do it because you're not going to have access to the internet. Titling and thumbnailing. If you want people to find your videos and to watch them, then you're going to need to title them well and to create thumbnails that are creative, visually interesting, and easy to read. Now, I followed a few basic principles when I was making my thumbnails, just based on my experience at my previous employer and just by doing a bunch of research and looking at other hiking YouTubers to see what thumbnails were working for them. I had my face in the thumbnail so people would see that it's me and click if they liked my videos. I would often take selfies over the course of my day so that I had assets to use, or just grab a screenshot from a video and use that. I would try to have a visually interesting background, maybe one with high contrast from the foreground so that someone knew what they were looking at. I would have the AT logo or the Long Trail logo on my thumbnail so that people knew what trail I was hiking. I also put the name of the trail in my title so that if somebody searched Appalachian Trail Thru-Hike 2025 video, my video was more likely to pop up for them. And frankly, YouTube search engine optimization could be a whole video in itself. I really recommend Googling that if you're actually interested in it and want your videos to really do well. That's all the technical stuff. Here is the truth about recording your thru hike and putting it on YouTube. It's not the easiest thing to do. I'll say that. It can feel like a full-time job when you are hiking every day and also recording pretty much every moment of every day. I would get about 30 minutes of footage every day and then cut that down to maybe like 10 to 15 minutes of video, depending on the day. But it can get really exhausting when you just want to be hiking or you're really tired and you just don't want to whip out your phone and record everything. You get to the top of a beautiful summit, and you're like, wow, this is beautiful. Let me take my phone out and record it. Or you're hiking up a mountain, you're like, God, this sucks. I'm so exhausted. Let me take my phone out and record it. Like, that just gets old. I'm not going to lie to you about that. It can get pretty tiring, but ultimately I'm really glad that I did it because I can look back on those videos and be like, man, that day did suck. I'm glad I recorded that. There were moments where I decided not to record if I got to a really beautiful view and I was like, you know what, this one is just for me. And I wouldn't take my phone out and record those moments. I encourage you to do that. Check in with yourself. Make sure that you're not overdoing it. If you feel like your hike is feeling impersonal or you feel like you've just been on your phone too much, just don't record. That's fine. Also, having your phone in your hand and having that intrinsic need to record everything can be a really strange balance between wanting to live in the moment and stay off of your phone. So that's also something to keep an eye out for. I would have to balance that and check in with myself and be like, I'm on my phone too much. So definitely something to keep in mind. There's also going to be days where you really don't want to record, maybe because it's raining and you don't want your phone to get wet, or you're just exhausted, or it's so hot, or you're in a bad mood, or you're in pain and you don't want to take the camera out and talk to it. That's totally fine. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. You might be happy that you did. There are definitely some moments where I had a really, really bad day and I pulled out my phone to talk to it, and I treated it like a journal moment where I was like, man, like I'm in so much pain. This sucks. I'm feeling this way. I've definitely cried on camera a few times. But frankly, like those are the moments that you want to remember. The hard moments are what make the really good moments really, really good. So it's good to record that stuff, but it's also okay not to. So just check in with yourself. Another thing to note is that it is okay to start YouTubing and then to stop YouTubing. It is totally fine for you to start recording, and then if you decide you hate it, just stop. That's fine. I met a ton of people that started recording and then just stopped recording because they were like, you know what, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'm on my phone all the time. My phone's dying all the time. I'm running out of storage. It's a lot of work. I just want to focus on the hike. That is okay too. It's not for everybody. It's okay to try things and then decide that you don't want to do it. It's fine. It's your hike. Just keep hiking. You can stop doing the YouTube if you want to stop doing the YouTube. It's also important to note that there is a really good chance that your videos are not going to get crazy views. You could put a lot of work into these videos, making them the best that they could possibly be. You could, really put in a lot of hard work and sweat and love the final product, and it could not get a lot of views. And that can be for a lot of different reasons. I will tell you that is why it's so important to establish a why for why you're on YouTube. Again, for me, I wanted to create that video journal. I wanted my family to watch the videos and to know that I was safe. So it was important to me to keep doing YouTube. That being said, if it doesn't align with you and it's not incredibly important and the why isn't as important as you just focusing on your hike, again, it's okay to stop YouTubing. But if you do decide that you want to keep YouTubing and your goal is fame and fortune and you want to turn it into a full-time career, then you're going to have to work really, really hard at it. It is a very competitive YouTube space. There are a ton of Appalachian Trail thru-hikers out there that want to vlog their hikes. And again, that's not to freak you out. There are folks that, capture an audience's attention and folks want to watch all their videos, and that's great. That's really, really cool. But it doesn't happen for everybody. So if it doesn't happen for you, just be aware that could happen. Again, come back to your why. If your why is I just want to make videos, then keep making videos. Final thoughts. I could get really technical with this stuff. I could tell you which hostels on trail have the best Wi-Fi for uploading videos. I could tell you which of my videos did really well and what they were about and why I think they did well and what people clicked on. I could tell you exactly how to structure your gear reviews, and I could tell you a whole bunch of stuff, but frankly, I think that takes the magic out of it. And also, I am not the ultimate hiking YouTuber, and I'm not pretending to be. I was simply just your average thru-hiking YouTuber that was like, hey, I'm gonna give this a try, and did, and had like what I would define as mild success. Like I had a good time doing it. So when I'm sharing these tips with you, I'm really just sharing what I knew from a previous role. And I'm also teaching you like the small things that I learned while I was on trail. I thought it was really worth it. I loved vlogging my journey. I'm so glad that I did. It's not for everybody. I really hope it's for you. I hope if you're interested in this sincerely, that you have a great time doing it. It's so awesome to have a video journal of your hike. But again, it really just comes down to what are you trying to get out of it? And if you're just trying to get a video journal out of it, then yes, do it. It's so cool to look back on videos of your hike and remember exactly where you were when you felt this one thing or when you ate this one thing or when you met this one person. That is so cool. And so ultimately, I just encourage you to have fun doing it. Have fun hiking the AT, figure out what works for you, make mistakes, have wins. Just try it. It's fun. And if you hate it, you can always stop. That's all that matters. Frankly, through hiking the ATs, really freaking hard. You're going to be in pain. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sweaty. You're going to be cold, achy. There's going to be moments where you're scared. There's going to be moments where you're having fun. And recording is going to be the last thing on your mind. Adding additional responsibilities to what's already a really difficult undertaking is not something to be taken lightly. So if you're thinking about doing it, just have a why for why you're doing it. And remember some of these like pretty easy to follow tips, and I think you'll have a good time. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions about vlogging on the Appalachian Trail, feel free to leave them below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or share it and send it to a friend. Feel free to head to thetrek.co to find stories of everything about ultralight through hiking, backpacking, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Appalachian Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, everything you ever needed to know about through hiking. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, head to the description below to find a link to our Instagram. Thanks for watching. Happy trails.